Here we are once again in this crisis in the US. As days pass, as the days get hotter, and summer will come across our faces in the heat and sweat. For some of us, we must ask what we are looking into. As the shootings, the mass shooting, the murderer and murders of Black peoples in Buffalo, New York, the massacre of children who are Latino and South American descent in Texas, and other shootings in other places across the US, in every type of city, affecting every type of American that are peoples of color. As the days get hotter and the summer come across us, I really believe that the killing and death will get worse. For Black Americans, this is not a new story. 400 years, Black Americans in the US have been the victims of violence. I say it again, Black Americans who've been in the US for 400 years have been the victims of violence. And the type of violence that Black peoples are the victims of, it's not what they depict in mainstream media, where they show intentionally Black on Black violence. But for the 400 years that Black Americans have been in the US, and the violence and the rage that has been presented or put upon our peoples, it was never a Black on Black. It was white against Blacks. It was white supremacy in the form of slavery, systemic slavery on Black Americans and the sufferings that they went through. For some of the suffering, it didn't start in the US for Blacks, the suffering. It started across shore. It started across ashore in Africa, where we met the white man. And our trips, or our trip across the Atlantic, as we know as the Black Holocaust, the Atlantic slave trade. This is when some of the suffering started. It did start even a little before that, but that's not the discussion for today. The white man in the US, in Europe, have never been the friend of the African peoples. They never have been friend of Africa or their descendants. So what we see now within the US, Black peoples being killed, Black peoples incarcerated, Black peoples being shot down, men and women. We're going to see a bloody summer this summer. America has a history of hate and violence, and America was built on hate and violence. A lot of the people don't want to talk about it. Black Americans, we talk about it, but we don't talk about the severity of it, the reality of white supremacy on the black mind, the reality of white supremacy on the black's income, the trauma, the mental health, the financial embargoes that white America put on black Americans. Is going to be a violent, bloody summer. And it's not going to be a bloody, violent summer of blacks attacking anybody. It's going to be a violent summer of whites showing who they are. America built this country on violence. The first violence how America built this country upon was the destruction of the indigenous peoples. And with the destruction of the indigenous peoples, wiping them out, murdering, slaughtering, male and female and children. This is Americans' legacy, a legacy in the history of violence. No stone turned over. White America didn't turn any stone over when it came upon their violence against non-whites. And with that violence and the destructive of destroying the indigenous peoples, it's funny and ironically today in American society, the love for dogs, the love for humans, the love for animals, where the love of dogs and animal by whites are more honorable and more beloved than the treatment or the humanity for blacks. A dog have more rights than a black person. But despite that, when it came to the indigenous people of America and killing off the indigenous people, they also killed off from their livelihood. And from some of their livelihood they killed them off is by killing off the type of animals they hunted to survive, like the buffalo. White man didn't cease to destroy the indigenous people by destroying them, but even from their way of surviving and eating. No different now as white supremacy have done to blacks within the US. They cut us off from our motherland. They cut us off from our lineage. They cut us off from our culture. They cut us off from our language. And they definitely cut us off from livelihood and living and eating. They say, why do black people in America have hypertension, all type of health problems? Because they've been taken away from us, our culture, our language, our heritage, and definitely our diets and eating. So just how the white man have massacred the indigenous peoples of America and turned no stone over when it came to killing them. Turning stones over when it came to killing them and killing off their lively stock, the things they needed to survive, food, animals, destroying buffaloes. The buffaloes in America became extinct due to the white man slaughtering and hunting them out and slaughtering the buffaloes, trying to starve out the indigenous peoples. The same type of tactics they did to the indigenous man in America, they did it to the black African in America. Then they turned around and they killed and slaughtered the indigenous peoples and their ways of eating and their ways of living. And they turned around and stole their land and put them in concentration camps. So they killed them off, women and children. They massacred and extinct the type of food that they ate to kill them off. And then they stole their land and they put them in the concentration camps. Then they turned around and then enslaved thousands and thousands of Africans, brought them to a new land. It's funny because in mainstream media and the white society, and they're sitting and in their high institutions and their place of government and law, they like to say the black man is lazy. The black man is lazy. Black peoples are lazy. But when they enslaved the black peoples in the US, they didn't enslave us because we were lazy. You don't enslave lazy peoples. They didn't enslave black people due to them being lazy. They enslaved them due to their strength and power. They enslaved them due to their strength and power, able to stand strong and strength. Then they turned around and say the black man has no intellect. This is what the white man say in their society today, in their high institutions, in their courts of law, in their administration and government. They say black people don't have the high intellect. This is white supremacy at its best, of its hatred towards the black man. But they didn't enslave black peoples, because if they thought black peoples were stupid and lazy, they wouldn't enslave them. So they enslaved the black people because the black Africans understood our culture. They understood how to grow things. So we enslaved them for two reasons: due to their strength, the African strength, and their insight and knowledge for our culture and how to grow things. But they lie. And they sitting, they say the black man, he's stupid. Black peoples are dumb and lazy. But when they enslaved us, because they knew that we have the physical strength and the labor strength, and they knew that we had the intellect and knew how to cultivate the land. It's going to be a bloody summer this summer. And it's not by the hands of black peoples. It's going to be by the hands of the white man. White man builded this country on destruction and violence. And just like they murdered and wiped out the Native Americans, they turned around and did the same thing with the African American, the African diaspora. They brought them to this country, to a foreign land, enslaved them systemically. White men forbid to enslave other white peoples. This was their code of conduct. So they brought the African diaspora, the African across the Atlantic slave trade. They brought them into North America. They brought them into South America. They brought them into Europe, enslaved them. And then it turned around and said, we're no longer going to enslave white man, but we're going to enslave black man systemically. And when they brought us here to these United States of America, and they enslaved us, the same treatment they did to the indigenous peoples, they did it to us, but on a worse level. On the worst level. Native Americans were not enslaved in this land. And despite them killing them off and put them in concentration camps and killing off the type of animals that they hunted and eat, the white man made treaties with the indigenous peoples of America, because the indigenous people of America, this was their land and they knew how to fight, but they wasn't the best of fighters because they was conquered by the white man. So the African American got a same treatment as the indigenous, but on the worse level. The black man wasn't free in this country. The Native American, they were the indigenous peoples of this land. The black African, when they came here, were in chains and enslaved. America's going to have a very bloody summer this summer. We see all the massacre, all the shootings and the killings. And somebody would turn around and say, but don't you see that even in Philadelphia, is black people shooting black peoples? And my reply for that, and my answer to that, black peoples who were shooting in those incidents, they did not manufacture those guns. Did not manufacture those guns. Name me one gun manufacturer or two gun manufacturers or gun industries in the US that's owned by blacks. Blacks don't manifest that. Blacks don't own none of these type of manufacturing company of guns. The white man does. The white man owns them. He owns them. He owns them. The black man doesn't own it. Even when you look in Texas, in the shooting in Texas, by another Latino against a bunch of children, that Latino, that youth, that murderer, he didn't own no manufacturing company. Who's the person who sold him the gun? Who manufactured the gun? Who sold him the gun? We look into American history. America is a very violent country. It was founded on violence. When the Europeans came to these lands, what is the first thing they did and what they established? They murder off the South Americans, the indigenous in South America, in the Caribbean islands. The history, if you look in history, when they first came here, the Dutch, the Spaniards, and the Portuguese, what did they do to the indigenous peoples? Some of the first areas they went to in South America, on the Caribbean islands, you notice Haiti, you know, people today look at Haiti and see all the black African faces of Haiti. But in reality, the Haitians in Haiti are not the original people of Haiti. The original people of Haiti were indigenous peoples, and the Europeans killed them all off by enslaving them and working them in mines, digging for gold and things like this. And they worked them to their death. Founded on violence. So as in the media, and they're talking about the mass shootings in America and all the violence and the gun violence, we have to ask ourselves, America, has it really repented for what it did to the non-black peoples? I mean, for the non-white peoples? They ever repented to what they did to the black peoples? Have they ever repented from what they did to the indigenous peoples of America? Right here, right now, in the US, there's an argument about reparations, and they don't want to give blacks reparation because white people are not ready to repent for the crimes they did to black peoples. They're not ready to repent, and that's why reparation is a problem for them. I'm telling you, it's going to be a bloody summer this summer. The white man, he built and found this country on violence, and he is violent. Somebody got to ask, why now so much violence? Because the pandemic. The pandemic locked the white man down. He wasn't able to do what he was known for doing. He was locked down, and while he was locked down, ravaging his rage, fighting the lockdown, fighting not to be locked down. Now COVID has somewhat passed a little. And even though he didn't learn his lessons from COVID, he tried to fight the COVID, but they didn't learn his lessons about COVID. But COVID made them submit themselves, made them humble themselves, but they didn't take any lessons from it. So now COVID is passing by. They got to go back on their rampage. Have to go back on their rampage. Even due to COVID, right here, you see in this screenshot, in this view, in this picture, look at this, George Floyd. Even through COVID, white man still was murdering and killing. During this time, during the lockdown, the pandemic, how many black people were killed by the police? How many black people were slaughtered by the police? Black people are not going to wake up. We need to start waking up and looking. Look at using our five senses. You don't have to be a genius to see what's happening. You don't need to be too bright or a genius or have a high IQ. All you got to do is use your senses, use your eyes, use your ears and hear. Put your ears to the ground. Put your eyes. Look what's going on. Look what's happening. Gas going up. Food prices going up. What do you think is going to cause people to be more happy? Oh, it's going to be a lot of violence this summer. Be a lot of violence this summer. Gas going up. Food prices going up. Huh? Babies can't even get no formula. It's going to be a lot of rampage, a lot of anger, a lot of frustration. But America's not ready to repent from what it did. Black people need to sit down and start thinking and listening and using our five senses to see what is happening around us. As the people in Buffalo, New York were killed by a white supremacist, and Joe Biden went there and said about he wants to end white supremacy in America, or white supremacy is the number one enemy or terrorist group in America. But that's not true, Joe Biden. Joe Biden knows that's not 100% true because Joe Biden is a white supremacist himself. White supremacy takes different forms and fashions. It's a system of laws and philosophy. And if you want to prove me wrong, I ask anybody to prove me wrong, I could prove you Joe Biden and the U.S. government's white supremacist. All you got to look at is Ukraine. All you got to look at America, Biden, U.S. government, how much money they gave Ukraine. Billions of dollars. You have independent news, liable, white standard, Western standard media that have said years ago that neo-Nazis are alive in the Ukraine, the neo-Nazi movements, and that many of the factions inside of Ukraine are right-wing neo-Nazis. Joe Biden knows this, but the U.S. government is supporting these neo-Nazis. It tells a lot about the U.S. government. The same U.S. government supported apartheid South Africa. The same United States of America that support those white Zionists in Israel fighting the people of Palestine. White supremacy have different forms and fashions, but every black man don't know this. We too busy looking at other things. We too busy looking and fighting with each other. We too busy worrying about when the white man going to give me a bone to eat. You're going to give me something, waiting for master to come and set him free. But this is a reality that we live in. For anybody, I started this channel and this page to talk about the African diaspora. I made this place to be a place where black people could talk about their issues without any white people commenting, without any white people giving their 2 cents, their negativity, their hatred, their racism. I made this space for our people, for any bias. I looked the other day and I seen a comment. I'm gonna show you how white people are. Somebody posted a comment, a white woman, and she said that I am a Karen here. That's how she started the post. She said, I am a Karen and I am here. I didn't even give this Karen 2 seconds or 3 seconds to keep the conversation. Just banned her, blocked her from this group, blocked her from this page. Black people need to sit down and start thinking and making an environment for them to heal and talk about their issues. To heal and talk about their issues. I really believe this particular summer is going to get very violent. We seen it already the other day. Different shootings everywhere. America is built on violence. See, when the lockdown came, them 2 years, the pandemic and the lockdown, violent things happened, but it was put down a little bit, violence. It was set back a little bit due to COVID. Now COVID has moved along, and what you see about all the gun violence and this and this and that is just America being who she is. She's catching up. That 2 years of the lockdown, it repressed the violence a little bit. People had to stay in their house. People couldn't go out. So that violence that America was built on, that violence that exists in America, there's more guns in America than there's people. That will show you how violent America is. That 2 years of the pandemic, the lockdown, and COVID going away. Now the white man, he got to let loose. He got to make up time that he missed. Black people need to start waking up. And when the violence, white man violence hit and goes on his rampage, it's best believe it's looking for color peoples. It's looking for black peoples. As I said in one of my previous videos here, the yin and yang of white supremacy in the US government, that in the US, white people always got to hate somebody. This is in every society. I've been to many countries. In any country you go to, there's some group of peoples that they hate. There's something or somebody they hate. In the United States of America, white people must hate black people. There always must be a group of peoples they must hate. And if black people don't understand these things and don't unite and come together to fix their problems, you're always going to be the victim. And the way you find or fix the issue or deal with the issue is black unity. Then that violence got to go to somebody else. That's why you seen during the George Floyd protests, that Black Lives Matter movement, when black people were challenging the government, you notice, where did all the hate, the white man hate went during that time? Democrats hate black folks. Republicans hate black folks. Where did they hate go? When black people was united during the George Floyd protests, where did they hate go? They hate went against the Asians. All right. Where else did they hate go? Hate go. The hate went towards the border. Those people who was crossing the border. When Trump was in office, that's when George Floyd got killed. And when black people were protesting over what happened to George Floyd, I told you the white man hate always got to face somebody. When black people was united during George Floyd protests, where all the hate went for the white man have. Where all the hate went? It went to the Chinese and the Asians. That's why they trying to push the Asian hate bill. Then it went to where else? Huh? ICE was going around and what? Looking for illegal immigrants. See, when black people were protesting about police brutality and systemic racism and they was united, the white man hatred went on somebody else. They did still focus on black folks, but they put their hatred to somebody else. Because in some corners of white, I said, white supremacy got different forms, different schools of thoughts, right? Democratic Party got their form of white supremacy, which is passive, and the Republican got their form of white supremacy that is active, aggressive against blacks. But when we were united in the George Floyd protests, the Democrats, they couldn't really go against blacks because they needed black people to get their vote to get Biden in. So where all their hatred went, all the hatred and the focus went where? Asians and South Americans, those who at the border. That's where all the focus went. They said, let black people have their moment, their time. Let them protest. Let them destroy their communities. Let them unite. Let them talk. But where the white people start focusing at during the George Floyd protest? Where the white man start focusing at? Okay, let's talk about these Asians. Right out the mouth of Donald Trump. What he said, COVID. He said what? What the name and title he gave from the COVID? The Chinese flu or something. Then who else they was focusing on? The Republicans. Who else they was focusing on? What? The border. The border. The border. White peoples in this country always gotta hate a group of peoples. And the ones from the minorities that are not united, they're gonna get all the blunt of the hatred. Why you think now the Democratic Party is pushing the Asian hate bill? Ooh, black people need to wake up. Why are people not reproducing so much? Why the Republican Party turn back abortion rights? White man is not reproducing. Look how slick it went down. The Republicans push it, and the Democrats didn't really fight it too much because the majority of the Democrats, they white. They act like the Democrats act like they was upset and act like, but they knew deep down inside the white man not going to exist if white women keep on aborting their babies. And because the white man is not reproducing like that, why you think the Democrats pushing the anti-Asian hate bill or the Asian hate bill? Because they're looking for allies. Why you think Joe Biden allowed 50,000 Ukrainians refugees come to America, skipping the line, getting in front of those Latinos and them peoples in the south, at the south of the border? Why he let them come in? Because them Ukrainians, they are neo-Nazis. The New York Times posted this already. They are neo-Nazis. So the U.S. government, Democrat Party, allowing these neo-Nazis to come to the U.S. because they're going to be their allies. Black people need to wake up. We need to wake up. So right now, re-strategizing. Everybody's re-strategizing. The white man on both sides of white supremacy, re-strategizing. White men trying to include from the Democratic Party, the Asians and South Americans. Black people need to start waking up. Because what it looks like to me is that white man is getting a bigger alliance in this country with white Europeans, like the Ukrainians, and those other individuals who are submissive to white supremacy. I'm sorry, Latinos, a lot of them are submissive to white supremacy because they was conquered by the Spaniards and the Dutch and the Portuguese. They're mixed with them. That's why they ask them in America, are you white Latino, white Hispanic, or black Hispanic? They're looking for their allies. What do you think will happen with them refugees who are going to come from Afghanistan? These refugees coming from Afghanistan, these are the people who helped American government conquer over Afghanistan. White man bringing all his supporters here. You think these peoples, when they come here, they're going to be for black peoples? White man, white U.S. government, he ain't reproducing kids like that. So that's why he's getting alternative supporters. other people who are submissive to Eurocentric culture. South Americans, they mix with the white man. They got the white man, they got the Spaniard white man last name and everything. They hate blacks also. They make fun of the black Afro Latinos. Argentina, historically in Argentina, wiped out their black population by when it was going to war. They put the blacks in the what? The head of the line for them to die first. And they start mixing with the light-skinned black woman to get with the white Argentinian so they can have white babies. Get them whiter. And the other blacks, they killed them through, put them in the front lines in the wars when he was fighting for their independence. So the self-hatred of blackness is already there. So when those people from the border come to the US, who you think going to be submissive with and helpful with? The peoples, the government that allow them to come over. They're going to be with the black African American. Matter of fact, you want to be on the winning team. You come to this country, you want to be on the winning team, not the losing team, because the losing team means that you're not going to be getting money. Black people better get their stuff together. If you don't get your stuff together, what's going to happen? You're going to get wiped out little by little. They already set it up the system. White man already got his supporters. The Asian hate bill, that's going to unite the Democratic Party, which is going to unite with the Asians. Asians don't like black folks. That's the real talk. Look what they did to the Africans in China when COVID hit. COVID came from China, Wuhan, China, and they were discriminating against the Africans in China, saying that the Africans are the ones spreading COVID. They had the audacity to say this and mistreat the Africans in China and said the Africans are the ones spreading COVID. So you think the Asians are going to be with in this country? They ain't going to be with the black person. They're going to be with the white man. The white man's the one who allowed them to come to this country. What the black people, what we going to do? Are we going to still be talking about Will Smith and Jada Pinkett? Are we going to still be talking about Will Smith? Or are we going to keep on talking about the latest gossip and nonsense coming from black side of Hollywood? Which rapper has no morals? Who's naked? Who's this? Who could get drunk? Who could get high? Who could blow the most money? They already got us by legalizing marijuana. That means like half of our youth are going to be gone just by legalizing marijuana. Will be so high, you ain't going to be able to fight. A revolution ain't going to be won by people high on drugs. Imagine an army, everybody strung out on drugs. The drugs close the mind from thinking and imperils the mind. Imagine you need the next revolutionist come from the black youth. And he has all the drugs that's affecting his mind and his brain and his thinking. Then they got another group of us, already got another group of us out the picture now. Then they have an additional group out the picture by pushing the LGBTQI agenda. Because two gay black men can't have children. Two gay lesbian women can't have children. Two people who are gay can't have children. So that's birth control right there. So other group of us are going to be knocked out from the legalizing of marijuana. Another group of us going to be knocked out by the LGBTQI agenda pushed by the Democratic Party. And for a revolution or to fight, or for black people to have the numbers, we're not going to have the numbers if half of us are all gay and homosexual and lesbians. So you got those two groups of us, The marijuana smokers, legalize marijuana, gonna knock us out. The LBGQTI agenda is gonna knock us out. We're not gonna have any children, not gonna reproduce. And if you say, well, two gay people could adopt a child or have it another type of way naturally, imagine now you bringing in the black child in a society that is anti-black and a dysfunctional home. The child needs to see the woman, the mother, and the father in the house. That's half his wealth right there. His mother and his father in his house. That's half his success in his life just from that. Now imagine two gay people raising this black child. I have associates and friends who grew up with gay parents. They ain't all there in their head. They got some social problems. And then we have another group of us. The single female household, the single black female household, raising the beta males. Raising the males who are going to be either on drugs. I was looking yesterday in Washington, this black mother, son was killed. Teenager trying to rob somebody. This guy let him get in the car, then shot and killed him while he was trying to pull off. And they showed her, I'm like, where the father at? Cut in school to go rob somebody and they bodied him and killed them. And the mom said, no, the mother said on the news, the mother said, oh, my son, he knew better. No, you show a gun, you got to use it. See how dysfunctional the mother is? The mother saying that, oh, my son knew better. He knew that if you show a gun, you got to use it. So the mom was trying to say, oh, her son, if he shot and killed the guy he was robbing, maybe he'd be alive, but he would be in jail. So this is a black single mother thinking. And I got the video right here on my page. This is the stupidity that the black mother is saying to the media, the news media. Oh, my son, he should have knew better that if you pull the gun out, you got to use it. Where his father at? So we got the black single female who's raising the beta males. Man, black people won't get our stuff together. We're gonna be gone. We're gonna be the biggest loser in this country. I didn't even touch economics yet. That's a video all by itself. And blacks who have no economics, but we're the biggest consumers in the US. We are one of the biggest consumers in the US, but we own nothing as a group of peoples. I don't want to hear nothing about no hip hop or rapper, entertainer who got money. I'm talking about as a group of peoples. And we don't have any unity when it comes to that section due to self-hate and self-defeat. It's going to be a bloody summer this summer, man. White man going to go loose. White man going to let the system loose. 2 years of the pandemic, the white man was locked down. All that stuff, all the hatred and the violence was suppressed during the pandemic. Now the pandemic, because they said the COVID numbers are down. That's why you're seeing the mass shootings now. COVID's down. Weather's getting hot. More people outside. Hot heat, pressure bust pipes. Gas is high. Food is expensive. And black people got no economics. A lot of stuff is going to happen. White man going to let the system loose this summer. They're going to let it loose. That's why we see the mass shooting right now. And that's just a little taste of it. And the government ain't going to do nothing about it. Republicans ain't giving up their guns. Ain't going to change no gun laws, no this, that. Ain't changing no gun laws. Republicans ain't giving up no gun laws. And Republicans, they not stupid. The average white man, he ain't stupid in this country. You know, he give up his guns, the government can come take your stuff. Anything happen, government implement martial law. Anybody look at the executive order that Obama signed before he left office? One of the executive orders during the last term that Obama passed related to martial law. You need to go look it. So the White House website is about martial law. When martial law take place, the government have a right to take your house, your property, medicine, pharmacy, agriculture. You a farmer. The government has a right to take your stuff by force and weapons. So why you think white man, the Republicans and them been buying up guns, them Trumpsters and them white folks getting their guns and not letting loose and letting free their guns, and they buying more guns and more ammunition while Negroes is buying hip hop and video games and sneakers. White man can see it coming. The average white man can see something's coming. You don't hear them Trumpsters? You don't hear them Republicans, them Trumpsters? What they talk about Ukraine? They said the American government is stay out of Ukraine. Them white folks ain't giving up their guns. Ain't nobody gonna pass no law. Ain't no Republican or Democrat gonna pass any type of gun law. White man ain't giving up his guns. Because the white man already stressed. Maybe one day the government, maybe they get tired of the Democrats. They might say, hey man, we gotta remove them. You already seen that when they stormed Capitol Hill. Meaning white man, he ready to die for this. Black folks, keep on buying these sneakers, caught up in hip hop, worrying about Will Smith and Jada Pinkett and the smacking of Chris Rock and all this BS. White man, he got his ammunition and his guns, and he teaching his kids how to use it. He ready prepared for the government to fall. They hoping the government fall. Because if the government fall, they ain't giving the government their property, their land, their agriculture, their farms. They ain't giving that up to the government. That's why they're collecting guns. They're going to fight the government for it. And I feel sorry for us black folks up here in the East Coast, because we ain't got no farms. And yeah, definitely ain't got no guns. You have no farms, no guns. You're going to be killing each other. You're going to be killing each other for a little resource that none of us own or have. Whoever amass the wealth or have the resources are the ones who survive. When anything collapses, those who have resources, food, agriculture, and water are the ones who survive. And here in the East Coast where we from, we ain't got none of that. Black folks definitely don't got that. We don't own no water resources. We don't own no farm and no land, and we don't even know how to grow nothing. I told you, all you gotta do is put your eyes and your ears to the ground and your eyes and look around and see what's going on. When you see the government turn around, Roe versus Wade, they let you know, white man's like, yo, man, our survival's at stake. When you seeing them allowing Ukrainians to come here, their survival is threatened and they need the numbers. But in reality, the Democrats and Republicans are together, but many of the people don't see that. The Trumpsters, they definitely don't see it. And black folks, we don't see it. We love the Democratic Party. I'm registered as a Democrat. I'm telling you right now, Democrats ain't not for black folks. And politics ain't going to change black people's condition. Black people need to change their own conditions. The solution for everything that's coming, black people's unity. And when I say black people's unity, I don't mean that you just sit there, we all hang out together. That's not what black unity means. We just hang out and talk like, yeah, we can see all these problems. It's black people's doing something about it. And the first way for black people to do something about it is by getting our finances and economics together. Some of us, we argue about religion. Religion is not going to unite black peoples in America. That's this reality. White man is not even united by religion. White supremacy is not about religion. I say it again. White supremacy had nothing to do with religion. It has nothing to do with Christianity. It's a social structure. All you gotta do is that, hey man, if you think I'm wrong, all you gotta do is look at, hey, why the US government support Israel? America claims to be a Christian nation. Some of those Palestinians in Palestine are not Muslim. They are Christian. They are Christian. They are Christian. Some of them are Catholic too. You didn't see that woman who got killed in Palestine? That reporter who got killed, she was a Christian reporter. You didn't see her going to the church and trying to have her funeral service in the church, and what the Israelis were doing to her. A portion of the Palestinians are Christian. The Jews, according to Christian belief and doctrine, the Jews are the one who have Jesus killed according to their religious doctrine. The Christians believe, part of their Christian doctrine, that when the Antichrist comes, the false Messiah come, they're going to be Jew. And the Jews waiting for their Messiah. So the Christian believe that the Antichrist is going to be Jew. Same belief as the Muslims. You don't see the US government with the Christians helping the Christians in Palestine. They supporting the Israelis, the Zionists, who, according to the Christian belief of the Antichrist, is going to come from them. The US government support them. Why? Because them supporting Israel has nothing to do with religion. It has to do with white supremacy. Them Jews are white origins from Europe. Them Zionists are white origins from Europe. Zionism in Israel is created by European Jews. That's white supremacy. White supremacy have nothing to do with religion. So black people, we ain't going to unite on religion. That's the reality. We're not going to unite on religion. I'm Muslim. I'm telling you right now, I already understand black people, we're not going to unite on religion. White man not united on religion. And for all my Muslim listeners who are Muslim and African American, the Arabs, all of them are not Muslim. All of them are not Muslim. Arabs themselves, 6% of them, 6% Arabs make up 6% of the Muslim world. Lebanon, mostly Christians in Lebanon. Christians. Egypt, majority Muslim, minority Christian. The Arabs, what did the Arabs do? The Muslim Arabs do to fight against the colonialists and the Europeans. You know who was fighting the colonialists and the Europeans in the Muslim Arab countries? It was the Muslim and the Christians fighting against their colonial slave masters and the Turks. Look at some of the big Arab nationalists that were against the Europeans conquering over them or living over them were Arab Christians, some of the big Arab nationalists. And the Arabs, for all the Muslim brothers who don't like somebody, oh, he's black nationalist, how you think the British and the Turks, how do you think the Arabs got rid of the Turks? And got rid of, after that, because they had assistance from the British, but after that, got rid of the Europeans and the colonialists in their country. Who helped them fight against them? Was the Arab Muslim, majority Arab Muslim, Arab Christians, and Arab Jews. Some of the Arab Jews, not all of them. Morocco, the Arab Jews, all of them, they fought and stuff like this. Morocco got Arab Jews there. So for all the African American Muslims talking about, oh, you black nationalists this, black nationalists this, the same Arabs that you talking about Muslim, when they fought their colonialists, the Arabs got with the peoples in their country, the Arab, Muslim, and Christians. Look up Pan-Africanism. Look at the forefathers of Arab Pan-Africanism and the Arab leaders who fought against colonialism, the Muslim leaders, who they get to assist them. They don't tell you that. Your brothers don't know about that. But y'all be the first people told me, oh, he's a black nationalist. You don't learn because we don't read. You know, we don't read, unfortunately. Egypt for Israel. Egypt is a majority Muslim country. Who you think the Muslims in the military for Israel when they invaded Sinai and Egypt? So we don't even know even the Arab Muslim history. The Egyptian majority Muslim, along with the Christians, they fought against those Israeli Zionists. So that means that the Muslim, Arab, Muslim, and Christian died fighting to get rid of the Arab Zionists. I mean, the Israeli Zionists. Matter of fact, there's a big person in America, in Hollywood, who died. I think his name is Ibrahim Sharif, big actor. This guy used to be an Arab Jew, an Arab Egyptian Jew. When Israel invaded Sinai in Egypt, this guy, a lot of the Jews in Egypt, they left. They went to Israel. This guy was Jewish. He converted to Islam. He used to be a Jew. He converted to Islam and he stayed in Egypt and was with the Egyptian peoples. But we have the African American Muslim. When they hear me talk like this, I'm telling you, we're not going to unite on religion as black peoples. You get, oh man, you're a black nationalist. When I go look at the Arab history, the same Arab Muslims that you claiming you're following, when I look in their modern day history, oh man, was the Arab Muslim along with the Arab Christians who fought against the colonialists. Then you got the same brothers who are going to say you're a black nationalist, Aki, and Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia got Arab Christians who live in Saudi Arabia. You don't believe me? Go look up their churches. It's on Google. Go Google churches in the Arab Christians in Saudi, and they're not European. They are Saudi citizens. Then you can just look up in Saudi, the Shia in Saudi, and see what the Shiite in Saudi, what did they do when they fought against the Turks and stuff? So y'all guys, y'all can't tell me what I'm saying is wrong. But when the same people you claim you following from the Arabs, they did the same thing and how they got their independence. They just happen to be a majority Muslim due to the dominance of Islam, alhamdulillah. But they have amongst their movements fighting against their colonial slave masters and their oppressors, like the Turks and the colonialists. You got amongst the Arab Muslim who united with the Arab Christians. Because it means you need to fight together for your survival as a group of peoples. That's for my brothers, African American Muslim brothers who are brainwashed. But you follow the Arabs and everything, but you don't know this about the Arab history, modern day history, and how they got rid of the colonialists and the Turks when they was ruling them. I know Negroes don't like that. African American Negroes don't like to hear that. But that's the truth. Black people, we're not going to unite on religion. We're not. Unfortunately. So we can't use religion as an excuse not to get our stuff together in America, because we're going to die if we don't survive. You're going to die if we don't survive. If we don't unite, we're going to die because we can't survive. And what the African American Muslim need to be doing, Islam teaches us in our religion how to empower ourselves by using the religion. We should be setting the example for our counterparts who are Christian or not religious or don't have a religion. We should be setting the trend and the example to follow. And that it's within itself will be some of the great ways of doing dawah. But many of us, we don't see it like that. I've been here long enough. It's about an hour. I said my piece. If you like this video, please like and share, especially on social media. As anybody know, that Facebook does not promote Black empowerment on their social media. And other social media, there is backlash with Black empowerment. Even though they allow you to post videos, they allow you to upload things, but they did not promote it in the feed, in the algorithms. They did not promote it. One of the best ways that we can help promote things like this is by liking it and sharing it on Facebook itself and sharing it outside the platform of Facebook. If you like to donate something, if you like this channel, you like some of the guests I brought on, you can also assist by donating to Cash App at $Islam Finest. Islam's with an S, Islam's Finest. Everything is in the description. Thank you.